Shohei Ohtani's Angels reunion a reminder why joining Dodgers was the right decision. For the first time since Shohei Ohtani joined the major leagues, the two-time MVP played meaningful September baseball Tuesday at Angel Stadium. It took a different uniform to make that possible. For 6 years, Ohtani provided the Angels with everything he had, defying the limits of what was imaginable. They gave him the chance to play both ways, and he rewarded them immediately in his stateside debut, hitting 51% better than league average while registering a 3.31 ERA on the mound as a 23-year-old sensation before his arm gave way. Ohtani's Rookie of the Year season ended with Tommy John surgery and an 80-82 record for his Angels club. He eventually came back even better. The inept franchise he played for never did. By 2021, Ohtani was inspiring awe again as a two-way sensation. He won his first MVP award, followed that up by finishing second in MVP voting and fourth in Cy Young voting in 2022, then ended last season with another MVP trophy and another major elbow procedure. After his dazzling debut year, the Angels never won 80 games again, never finished better than third place in the division, and never surrounded the most gifted player in baseball with a talent that could get him to the sport's biggest stage. Their failed last-ditch effort last year, adding at the deadline in hopes of capitalizing in Ohtani's contract year, fizzled out quickly. The Angels went 8-19 in August and cratered as Ohtani tore his UCL again. Most of their additions were placed on waivers before month's end to lessen the financial burden. Then they let the latest coming of Babe Ruth walk. The Angels were seemingly among the finalists in the sweepstakes to get Ohtani this offseason, but they never matched the 10-year, $700 million deal the Dodgers and other clubs were willing to provide. I'm just thankful and grateful for the teams that ended up offering a contract because that's a reflection of what they think about me, Ohtani told reporters through interpreter, Will Ayrton ahead of his return to Anaheim this week. Would Ohtani have stayed if the Angels offered? It's hard to tell, he said. Obviously, the offer did not come to fruition, so it's really a situation where it was more of an if they did situation, so I can't really speak on that. Exactly 1 year to the day of Ohtani's final appearance in an Angels uniform, Ohtani was back at Angel Stadium for his 352nd game at the venue and his first as a visitor in a regular season game. The Angels had already welcomed him with a tribute video back in March, when he played in the exhibition Freeway Series. This time, all that awaited the best thing to happen to their franchise over the past 6 years was a graphic displaying his accomplishments as Ohtani stepped to the plate for the first time. He gave a half hug to catcher Logan O'Hoppe, who, along with home plate umpire Brock Ballou, afforded Ohtani the chance to soak in the moment if he wanted to take an elongated pause. But there was no lengthy stoppage. No need to waste time surveying the scene or taking off his helmet to a half-empty stadium, which provided him with a respectful but tame standing ovation. He was ready to hit. Ohtani gave a respectful nod to Ballou, acknowledging the time he was granted, then peered in towards starter Reed Detmers. It's just how he's wired, manager Dave Roberts said. I think some people are pretty emotional about things, and some people are very kind of unemotional. He's just simplistic in that sense. It's a part of his past and a significant part of his life. But I don't think it's something that he continues to think through. I think he's more of a forward-thinking person. That's not to say his former club meant nothing to him. A day before his return, Ohtani described Anaheim as a special place, and he said he looked forward to returning to the ballpark and its fans. There's a part of him that believes if he had stayed healthy through his tenure, maybe the results would have been different. But this chapter of his story is clearly behind him. Roberts thought that Tuesday's reunion was more about closure for Angels fans than for him. I think Shohei has certainly, rightfully, has moved on, Roberts said. He does a great job, like I've talked about, of separating real life from work. But I think this moment is something that people have looked forward to. As the game progressed, the stadium began to fill. Attendance grew to 44,731 fans, the highest mark of another dismal Angel season, as Dodger fans made the short trip south. The no 17 jerseys in the crowd were mostly blue. A light MVP chant welcomed Ohtani his first time up, Those chants grew louder after he hit an RBI triple to tie the game in the third inning. As a player, you feel very supported and appreciative of all the fans that are in front of me, in front of the team, Ohtani said. It makes a difference that they're out here. The Angels are in last place, all but assured to miss the postseason for the 10th straight year. The Dodgers, meanwhile, have the best record in baseball and are cruising toward their 12th straight playoff appearance. As he weighed his options this winter, Ohtani said winning championships was most important to them. While some felt his decision to join the Dodgers, who had wanted him for more than a decade, was a foregone conclusion, it was never abundantly clear. Ohtani took time this winter to be courted and hear teams out. This offseason, he declined to discuss how many teams he was considering late in the process, but he said he didn't make his decision until a night before his announcement. In terms of threats, the Angels didn't stand out to Roberts as much as the Blue Jays, Giants, or Cubs. I don't think they were in the conversation, Roberts said of the Angels, and obviously there was a lot of hearsay. They could have been in the conversation, but I never got wind of that. That might have been on the down low, but even Shohei said they didn't offer him. Angels pitcher Patrick Sandoval said there wasn't much pitching Ohtani to try to stay last season because he didn't think it would sway Ohtani's opinion. As rumors swirled about Ohtani's potential landing spot, including reports of him flying to Toronto to become a Blue Jay, Sandoval found some amusement in all the speculation. Just knowing him, knowing how private he is, knowing there wouldn't be much coming out from his side, and the media kind of just building it up to be something that it kind of wasn't. I thought the funny thing was when he announced that he apologized for taking so long, Sandoval said. It really wasn't that long at all. It was fairly early. The Angels hired Ron Washington as their new manager in November. During interviews, he said the topic of Ohtani staying or leaving never came up. He never spoke to Ohtani before the superstar announced his decision in an Instagram post the following month.